I may remind about what that is meat as such. So is it the well-known and delightful steak, or is it the minced meat? About 60% of meat consumption is the minced meat, or is this the processed meat, so the sausage at the end? So just keep in mind and be aware that we are talking from the same. And out of that, the question to eat less. Well, be aware what's the basis of the calculation. As often the statistics include the bones and offals. Sometimes when you have a look to the statistical figures, is it 60 kilo per capita or 30 kilograms? Just be aware, look to the sources and be aware, is it with and without the bones, or is it the use as such, or is it bought the meat? So not all agricultural products you are buying and have in your fridge will really be consumed. So just to be aware that it's a bit more complex just to ask for less. And last not least, to get into that question and a bit to Bodis about regional or seasonal meat. What's the reason for the human being to consume meat? It's nutritious. So there's a high protein density, the minerals given, some essentials, amino acids. So in some countries, not only in EU, but in the world, we have misconsumption, a protein lack. So meat could be of help for that. Or it's a part of culture. And let's say, put it like this, enjoy. So when you are having your barbecue, you won't do it alone. It will be with colleagues, with friends, to get together in the main sense of this word. So it's a cultural heritage. And maybe to have a last view on the sustainability, a main driver of the discussion about the meat consumption, as it's a chain coming from farm to fork. And I may add, as with a producer's view, from farm to fork via factory. It's the whole. If you have a farm, you can't run it not only for the plant-based production, but for the animals as well. And then in the next steps of the cutting plants, slaughterhouses, etc. And then in the end, it's all to use the products, byproducts, parts of the animal. And I may add the example that parts you don't eat or don't like, or you won't consume in the one country, could be of much more added value, of more interest in another country. So the trotters, for example, not interesting at all in Europe, are highly liked and demanded and even paid for the same price than sirloin in China. So this is an effect what trade can be of help. So when you ask less meat, be aware this is a spot in a chain. And if you chain the one element of the chain, be aware not to break this chain. I'll stop here, trying to give a view of that it's not in our interest, at least, having less meat consumption. At least since the last nearly 25 years, the consumption rate in Europe is more or less stable. It's not increased. The species are differentiating, that maybe there is less pig and more poultry and whatever. But that's another issue just to raise when you are talking about less. Be aware what we are talking about. To focus on the local, regional, or seasonal products, it's absolutely understandable and even necessary as it is part of the consumer's demand. No question about that. But be aware that for the whole agricultural chain, not all products are available on local, regional, or even seasonal availability. And you mentioned the soy, saying to eat it yourself, but of course it's mentioned the use of the soy as feed. So let's differentiate a bit this question, where it's possible, where it's wished, no question. But it's not the solution to feed the world. So that means if you want to have the products for the affordable prices, you have to have the structure from this whole farm to fork, and that's what you have to keep in mind. And I gave an example in the German part, saying that one of the main big cities, Frankfurt, which had 20 years ago about 20 slaughterhouses, none at all. So why? There's a change about economic reasons. That's part of the answer. If it's possible, if it's existing, but be aware you cannot have a shift or transition what was done in 20 years in 20 months. Saying loving, liking, needing meat, but trying to improve the surrounding, the habit to get into a more sustainable process. And that's exactly what the Green Deal and Farm to Fork initiative of the Commission started the 20th May of 2020 wanted to. And the UECBB, the European Livestock and Meat Trade Association, from the very beginning, even some months before it started, totally committed for that. That we want to get to steps to improve sustainability. What is sustainability? How to measure? So that's again to differentiate, meaning from the raw material, from the feed, from the animal farming to the slaughterhouse. And for example, one measurement tool would be the footprint. There are not existing any figures at the moment on slaughterhouse level. So a lot on the farm level, but after the farm, we have the transport, and after that, the slaughterhouse, and then the consumer consumption, and even the retailer. So we just started and will publish in the next some days the first ever facts and figures about the footprint on slaughterhouse level. To have a measurement to show what's existing, and that this will be a begin of improvement to work on incentives to improve. That's the first main answer. And Oriano, there's a second one, just to have in mind. And now I have to try to be diplomatic, because I won't finger out to the others. But what the meat industry and the livestock and meat sector can do, they will do, and they will be active. And sustainability even includes more than just environmental aspects, social aspects, economic as well. And I may say the understanding of responsibility. So we are working on that centrally, and this sustainability needs facts, figures, and a transition to improve. But have in mind, about 50% of the whole emissions existing are natural based. So we have to look on the other 50%. And of this 50%, it's energy and it's transport, 80% covering that. So in the end, we are talking of the agricultural sector, about this remaining 10% where we have our responsibility. But be aware, if you stop eating one burger, you won't change the world. But without any question, improve wherever it's possible. But as we are talking about, let's say, a balanced diet, let's please have a balanced argumentation, have a balanced discussion of this environmental aspect. It's not the meat alone. It's not the agriculture alone. There are other sectors much more involved. And okay, we have to improve at its best. And this means transition, and this needs time and efforts. And as I said in the beginning, one element will be measurements, and that's what we are working for, being responsible and sustainability, to understand much more than just this economic, social, or environmental aspect, responsibility for animal welfare as well. So working on that close together, and as Oriando started the question, that he likes it, yeah, let's go on that to have a better, improved handling of meat products and the whole farm to fork wire factory sense. I would like to say, Boyko, this is a statement, so nothing to add, because it's not up to me to comment that. But as it was in a form of question, I may say the main point you said, to put it in a bigger picture, and let me have my choice. No question about that. But choice means chances, means challenges, and means in the end, of course, in a handling of responsibility, of course, sometimes something like regulation. So let's talk about or think about, what is the regulation about? Is it about standard, about hygiene, about quality, about keeping the cooling chain, for example, up? No question, you need it. We are in a Europe where we try to have used it harmonized, but not to, it's not up to a regulator to say this is good food, this is bad food, maybe to inform, no question, but not to make the choice from the regulator. I'm against that, and we are against that, so we are on the same line. But as it's always difficult, this farm to fork and Green Deal we already mentioned, there are in the pipeline nearly 120 regulations, and one regulation means a lot of other so-called delegated acts. It's a package unimaginable, from green taxonomy about bank to not to have children's labor, which is under due diligence. Why not? We need standards to have in a European sense. So, but it can't be about, if you like it, you have your choice. But for example, promotion would be the issue then. Should this EU underline, support any longer promotion? We say yes, we need it to make the sense of Europe aware of to make people aware of the standards. Yes, but if you cut it down, you don't have that possibility to inform yourself, for example. Or meat sale denomination, complicated word. There is no European assessment of having meat as the name ensured. So the one can say it's beyond meat, the other means laboratory meat. It's not that it's not a safety issue, and it unfortunately the EU missed last year the possibility of harmonizing that. I would have preferred that, because it could be such simple. An apple is an apple, and a cow is a cow, and a pig is a pig, and meat is meat. But it's not lab meat. It's not whatever. And be aware, if you say milk and it's oat milk, do you really think it's something of that? So it's a bit more complicated about these measurements, about these tools, about this surrounding. And Boyko, once again, thanks for the question, in the sense of you are the city representative of citizens. We are Europe, and sometimes we should make aware the regulators what they are regulating.